talk about the aftermath of this event, or this, how can I put it out, difficult experience that I've went through in my life. Although I do believe that there's going to be some real justice that are served. It was pretty harsh, and not just how they treated me, but also how they smeared a lot of lies about me. So basically the point is that what these people do is that not only that they try to create tension, they try to make something a big deal, but what they also try to do is to make sure that you get frustrated, you get angry, you don't act the way that they want you to behave. You know, you defend yourself, and then they just use it against you. They just, over-exaggerate. They say, yeah, well, you're just loud, you're obnoxious. They overhype it, and then they use, essentially, law enforcement against you. I mean, they're just hypocrites when you think about it. They tell you, well, we are against the police, to fund the police. Police is too harsh. We got to decriminalize everything. But when it's time to basically carry out their agendas, they use the police against us. That's essentially what they are all about. Now, many of you ask yourself, well, why should I bother? Maybe I should just cash out my earnings in the stock market and just move to another part of the world in some tropical island. The fact is, I enjoy making a difference. I actually enjoy bringing out my concern, my passion of this demographic tsunami. Bringing out the idea of why are they doing this? What's the purpose of all this? Raising an alarm, being aware that even people like myself is understanding that this is a global plan designed to not diversify, but to replace certain populations all over the world. To talk about the double standards that's happening, the victimization, the guilt, and everything that's going on. The fact is that if Europeans had not settled the United States, that we would not come here, Persian Americans. The fact is that we are not coming over to the United States to support a replacement plan of what's really going on. The fact is that if the Amerindians were the sole group that were in this part of the world, that we would not be here. The fact that if this was still part of Mexico, that these migrants would start moving into Wyoming, Nebraska, and Louisiana. That's the truth. We're awake about what's going on. But this is how their gangster type system works. What they do is they create a disturbance, then they want you to get fired up, and then they use the cops for their own gain. And again, this is not just in certain events that has to do with social justice and things like that. Can go on even when I speak out, when I protest these grand opening home builder events, because they're such a sham. They're overpriced, they're car dependent, useless gated amenities, oversized, low quality architecture. Essentially, you can say that law enforcement has become nothing more but tools of the corrupt establishment. And it's our job to continue to fight back, to expose, to protest. Absolutely. We can certainly find a number of ways to stand up for ourselves, to speak to the district that controls the library system, to make sure that we can file a lawsuit. We can do a lot of these things. I want to make this very clear. I'm not upset at the migrants or the minorities. I'm upset at the establishment, the powers that be that are pushing all this nonsense, the politicians. And many of you see that, well, it's the light-skinned color guy that controls it all. That's what my flag was all about. But the woman who runs this organization just didn't want to hear it. They don't want to hear other opinions. They're so narrow-minded. They're controlled. They're tools. The fact is, there were two white guys, Harry Reid and Jim Murren, in my flag, and they're the ones who are pushing this social justice narrative. See, it's this guy on the top that's pushing this kind of agenda. You have to understand that they're pushing these programs. They want distraction. They're pushing the politicians. They want to divide the country so we don't unite and fight against the common enemy. The fact is, They don't want to hear about the fact that people overwhelmingly, not everyone, just are not a fan of diversity. When you look at neighborhoods across Las Vegas, you will find that even though it was built before the redlining and all that, it's still demographically different everywhere you go. The whites flee to Summerlin, Centennial, and Henderson, and many of them happen to live in highly priced areas with HOAs and gated areas to kind of separate themselves. That's the problem. It's no coincidence with this high level of inequality and diversity, we're among the most gated areas in the country. So now let's talk about the smears and propaganda that's being spread all over me. You can see here all of these smears and propaganda, half-truths, lies, disinformation, folks. And I can tell you this, folks, if you guys are going to continue doing this, I can certainly file a lawsuit. There's certainly a libel case against all of this. So what I did is I replied to a lot of these people and I took snapshots, and I want to show you exactly what these people were telling me. Now let's take a look at what's going on. Let's start with number one right here. And you can see right here, the mental gymnastics. He must go on a daily basis. Yeah, if again, the Europeans did not come here, we Persians would not settle the United States. Look at the migrants from Africa and Asia that are migrating to Europe. Give me a country that's less racist than the United States. There is no racism. Absolutely. Look at this. Ignorance in the highest level. He has never seen the Olmec or Zin empires of Africa. Never heard of the Mayan, Aztec, or the Inca empires. I'm referring to comparisons with one another. Why did any of these civilizations at least create ships to explore around the world like these others did? He's an attention seeker. Yeah, no, it's actually called courage. We want to expose a taboo. These people are not used to it. Now again, this is what these cowards do. They take a small clip of the incident where this punk, this POS, was trying to arrest me. And you can see right here, they're nothing more but enforcers of these crime bosses. That's all they are. They're nothing more but tools of the elite establishment. They don't want the people to stand up because they know they're enforcing a scam. They're enforcing the lie. But again, they only enforce a small part of it. But what I had to do is I had to edit. I had to basically do the best I can to make sure that I reveal everything that was going on. And not one commentator on this video said, hey, Cyrus, you're doing something wrong. You did something that was offensive. You violated a code of conduct. They did not say anything. I keep telling them it's public property. They would not explain what violation I've committed. The other librarian told me I can go to the other side. These cowards, they don't respond. Let's take a look right here. You guys are perhaps the same people who complain about the police and fight for defund and decriminalization, yet you put your efforts in non-offensive folks like myself to promote your narrative. You can see her act like a fool, get removed. So she just admitted that she was raising her voice at me. They don't want to admit wrongdoing. These people are cowards. We are living in a society where essentially a lot of people are not bearing any responsibility. They want to fire you up so then you screw up and then they just put all the fingers at you. Companies, you are committed to diversity. I just responded to that. 3 people had the courage and all 3 were removed immediately. Yeah. Well, then you try to essentially claim that it's an open to the public town hall with elected officials. This again is violation. And I start to obviously bring out my facts. You can see here, this guy is a fascist, but again, my flag was speaking against corporate fascism. You can see here, hello, I did not get kicked out of the meeting is what I was going to say. I did not attend the meeting. My friend did this confrontation last Thursday. He's talking about the video where my friend was out there confronting the people in the Clark County board. So he's an immigrant talking smack about indigenous people. I said, why didn't the Amerindians build a society great enough that so many around the world want to immigrate to? Look at the migrants coming from Asia and Africa into Europe. Idiot, where has building empires gotten us? Yeah, capitalist and environmental destruction, climate change. And I tell them, developed countries have far better success in the environment than developing countries. They don't want to hear this. It's all double standards. It's all white guilt. It's all anti-white propaganda. I believe this is just propaganda to deindustrialize the whole world. What did I do wrong? How was this flight problematic? Caught his you-know-what at the door. They don't want to even look at the whole video and reveal what I did wrong. Now, look, they're spreading propaganda too. They're giving misleading. They're saying, ooh, Cyrus is an insurrectionist. He was one of the Peg Boys people who was beating people up. Yet, of course, they don't want to talk about Antifa. Absolutely not. They don't want to take responsibilities on one side or themselves. They just want to keep everything half-truths. This is the sham world that we're living in. And of course, we know a lot of government agencies continue to take their sides. It's absolutely sickening. Also, the guy with the flag Cyrus can be seen with the Proud Boys, where several people were beaten and stabbed. Again, do you have any evidence that I was beating and stabbing people? No. They have no evidence of that any kind. By the way, when I was there, I was mostly just hitting on women. Believe it or not. Do you have scenes of me being violent? Are you using this to defame my character? Are you trying to set yourself up for a lawsuit? Reveal the whole story and sides. This plan is a con organization. They're not there to help the people. They're there to pump votes and fake testimony to change laws in this country. They're an open borders organization. I believe they got funding from the Ford Foundation. Cyrus the Virus has been thrown out many minutes. He's dangerous. He films posts without permission. His job is to attack, especially women. Removing him is the best choice and acts inappropriately with young women. And of course, they don't provide any evidence. Where am I dangerous? Do you have any actual footage of me misbehaving? She was the one who raised her voice to me. I did not even get kicked out of the event. Is it illegal to film on public property? Where do I have proof that I act this way with women? Sounds like libel. Again, this is all they do. You speak your mind out, they use as excuse to throw you out. So black women can yell, but not Persians. She's saying, yeah, we love black women. You see, folks, the fact is that Persians somehow are not as oppressed as black women. Unbelievable. Don't play with Akiko. Yeah, but she was out there yelling and screaming. No accountability of her. Absolutely. This dude is a coward and piece of work. Tried trolling our Facebook events recently. Show me proof or I can potentially put you in a lawsuit and provide false information. You need to start doing this. Again, then they laugh and then they don't provide true evidence of what's going on. How it started, how it's going. But again, they don't explain everything was going on. They're trying to make a scene. They're trying to provide false information, perhaps. They're trying to provide half-truths. They're trying to mislead people, pick and choose, so they can defame my character. He's a jerk that everyone hates, don't worry. A jerk for exposing the truths and breaking taboos? They don't want to explain that. Racism is so entrenched against American society that an anti-racist town hall was immediately interrupted by counter-protesters, and the organizer of the event was called illegal. We will not be intimidated in silence. Well, obviously the illegal was not happening in the event, and once again, I did not get kicked out. This gentleman did. And again, I have the video right here. And the person I called illegal, well, she represents Mi Familia Vota, which promotes illegal aliens. No duh. They tried and failed. We got to speak and tried to tell our story. Their ignorance is astonishing. Failed, not likely long-term. I mentioned the librarians violated public property rights. I did not even get kicked out of the event. One of the librarians told me that I can still stay in the library. Unbelievable. Now, this is me exposing their lies. They accused me of being disruptive, yet I was not kicked out of the event. Yet these folks do far worse. This is when the blacks or whoever, they were disrupting the NAAC event. Double standards. They can go to a public meeting promoted by private organizations, and guess what? They can disrupt But oh no, they're social justice warriors. They have the right. But Iranians like me who speak out against the double standards, they could use excessive police force on me. It's absolutely sickening. And this is why I kept advocating. We want separation. You can see right here. And people ask why we need anti-racism policies. This is the kind of individual that teaches their kids how to be racist in their own actions. Well, I tell them, well, maybe separation is the best way to handle it. Yeah, I called her an illegal and they're going to replace white people. Is that true? If they don't tell you, perhaps it is. Tell us where the demographic trends are headed. Let's just go on. Not okay, I'm sorry for Maria. Oh my gosh, play the victims and all that. Yeah, that's why they want these illegals. So you feel guilty, you feel sorry. They're victims, they're oppressed, they're indigenous people. Yeah. Horrible, inexcusable. You gotta break taboos. Let's separate. Now, this is one guy, and I want to talk about him. This is the SOB who works for the UNLV Immigration Clinic, who lobbies for taxpayer-funded resources from Clark County in the state so illegal aliens can get our taxpayer money so that they don't get deported. Meanwhile, my relatives, they spend a lot of time and money trying to stay in the country. It's absolutely disgusting. Now read this, okay? Because the reason why I brought this guy up earlier is because he's Jewish and he used the deportations to compare to the Holocaust. Now he's saying, well, Cyrus' comments before was anti-Semitic. No, because you're comparing deportations to the Holocaust and you're able to get away with it because you think you're Jewish. One of these sad people has posted anti-Semitic videos against me and has over the last few years harassed and stirred more Latina leaders in Nevada that I can count. Ugly, dangerous, and to point frighteningly routine. Yeah, who cares that I have hate speech? It's the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's the truth. All right, and we're going to keep speaking out. Now, this is what I responded to him. Anti-Semitic. Semitic are Arabs. Where's the slur? Why not demand separation? And here's the real kicker. Folks like you help prove that the chant in Charlottesville is actually truly about replacement. No duh. Remember that chant in Charlottesville? Well, he's proving that, yeah, there's going to be replacement. Unbelievable. Expose this guy. This guy should be fired. He was terrified because at the end of the day, Cyrus is a brown man. And he fears the police as much as BIPOC does. Yeah, see, they can invent these terminology. Which, by the way, technically, Iranians are counted as white under the U.S. Census. And my mom's relatives are actually white. The reason why I'm darker is because my father comes from the Persian Gulf. Regularly, they hit 120 degrees in the summertime. Anyway, he hides with white people looking for acceptance. He wants to be white and to be accepted by them. No, it's the fact is that more of us, regardless of where we are, we're getting sick of the double standards. I'm sure you guys will commit far greater trouble and they will do less. Yeah, and you're saying, like, I fear the police. Well, you guys actually made it worse. You guys are hypocrites. You're using police against brown people. One of the librarians actually told me I can stay. What code did I bring? I didn't even get kicked out of the meeting. I appreciate your response, but here's the thing. I am proud of my Persian roots. In fact, there are plenty of things that I don't like about whites. However, we wouldn't be here if white people did not settle the United States. They are the ones that are responsible mainly for this great country. However, it should not be a taboo just to question the future of demographic trends. 0% European Americans in Las Vegas by 2070. Why is it a taboo for me to ask that question? Well, maybe because it's going to happen. Maybe that's what the goal, but they make it a taboo because they want to intimidate you so you don't know exactly what's going on. Yeah. Let's take a look right there. Terribly, horribly confused actually means I'm wise, brave, and willing to break taboos. You don't like it? Separate. I love how Cyrus facilitates being a tough guy and a victim. He's terrified when he was finally dragged out of the library. This guy is definitely missing some screws. And of course, I pointed out, well, if you watch the video, I was not kicked out of the meeting. The host confronted me outside of the room, and also one library told me that I can stay in another part of the building. Poor management. They don't want to hear the whole story. Yeah, you see what I meant? Just a total racist weirdo. I was speaking out my concern about Las Vegas being potentially 0% white by 2070. That seems racist. And if that's the goal, time to separate. You can keep the racists away. Yet, we have politicians like Selena Torres who lobbies for illegal alien legal defense services and then associates herself with Latino groups. So this is what they do. They come here illegally, then they bring these anchor baby children like Selena Torres, and then they fight for illegal aliens like they're a tribe, and then they have these Latino-based events, and then they talk they're victims, they're oppressed, all this other nonsense. Yeah, and we Persians don't do that. Oh, but Persians are more privileged than others. Yet Iranians have higher test scores than much of Latin America, like Mexico. I think nearly all of Latin America, I'm not sure, except for maybe Chile and Argentina. But yeah, Persians are more privileged. Absolutely. But they can associate with their race, but when white people do it, when I try to promote their causes, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. I'm sick of this, and I'm going to keep fighting for it. You were disorderly. I'm not with Mi Familia Vota. In fact, you were tagged in the same video. Illegal. You know that your family immigrated here as well. You think you can be disrespectful for likes for YouTube? Wanting the white man out? Get the F out. My kids are part white and my partner. I appreciate your reply. Well, I didn't cuss them out. That doesn't mean we have to have groups like Mi Familia Vota that lobby for non-legals and pump politicians like Selena who pass laws that gives tax funds for illegal aliens. I also ask the long-term demographic trends. Where was I disorderly? Please show proof. I was not kicked out of the event. They don't want to answer this question. You're an absolute disgust human being, and all I have to say is keep my friends' names out of your mouth. Okay, well, at the meeting, I wanted to ask for separation. Not everybody's a fan of diversity. See, I think they really need white people. Yeah, and he says, what character? The organization. You're trying to prove that I'm violent and disruptive. I did not even disrupt, other than saying that my foot was stomped on. Your video proves it. When are you heading to the psych ward? Yeah, they're saying you're crazy. See, notice how they don't say I'm a white supremacist. Or like, you are a white nationalist. They just say you're crazy. They say where you come from. Notice how they treat me differently than if they were to treat somebody like Richard Spencer or Jared Taylor. Think about it. All we ask is to know the long-term demographic trends. And we just want to separate if it's not going to be looking good. That's all we ask. Why should it be a taboo? Unbelievable. You can see all this. All these likes, all of this attacks, you name it. It's absolutely unbelievable. You can see here, Mi Familia Vota. They are obviously Selena Torres promoting illegal aliens. These people need to be exposed. Seriously, it's only a matter of time. I'm going to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars with banners and signs protesting this thing. I don't care what's going to happen in terms of, they're just going to literally bash me all over the world. Bring it on. I'm going to stand up for myself. Stand up for what's true. Absolutely. Look at this. Sizzleack pandering to the illegal alien-based organization Mi Familia Vota. Latinos are working better for themselves. Look, the more you do this, the more we suspect that mass immigration, especially illegals, demographic trend is not good for our society. This is a Las Vegas council member. Absolutely, it's just disgusting. And I'm going to do a video about the Culinary Union because a lot of people are standing up to this crap. Why parking should pay for itself instead of get free parking? Yeah, well, Las Vegas is the most parking lot infested. Look at all these double standards. Joe Biden just talked about, oh, we don't want Vietnamese, but now he's doing it right here. Complete hypocrites. Kathy Sizzleack got masked from communist China. No surprise. And by the way, they said, oh, well, when you talk about that, you're racist. Usually when they do that, that means that essentially we're right. Absolutely. Resorts World, they're saying we don't want vax policy. Look at this. Nevada has below average vaccination rate, yet the vaccine rates are going down. Cuomo gave driver's license to illegals. This is why we have a problem with all these politicians. Adam Laxalt approved Dominion voting machines, failed to trail Trump. Well, he seemed kind of shady back in the day. I'm certainly not going to vote for him. Absolutely. Just think about it. It's absolutely unbelievable to see what's going on. Look at this article right here. 52% of Southern Nevada COVID deaths were fully vaccinated. No duh. Think about it. It's not working. This is why people are not rushing in. People just don't feel comfortable. And think about the fact that all these open border, Mi Familia, social justice organizations keep promoting this crap. And then they want to say that, oh yeah, systemic racism is why people of color are not getting vaccinated. Just really give me a break. By the way, that is the main reason why the vaccination rate, I believe, is below average in Clark County compared to the rest of the country. It should be pretty surprising considering that we have really a service-based sector economy. But the truth is getting out there. There's a lot of fishy things. You don't even have to read these articles to figure it out. Absolutely. It's just no coincidence. Look at this. Why Vegas is dead. All these channels not leaving Las Vegas is exposing the facts. By the way, all these open borders organizations were promoting the vaccine. So when the vaccine truth comes out, they're done. And this whole thing, the illegal alien stuff, is going to cause a domino effect. Think about it. You're promoting these illegal aliens to register and to vote so we can reduce our freedoms. It's unbelievable. Think about it. How can people be so naive? Can people actually learn and realize this? I wanted to just show you something real quick. Diversity is not just an American thing or in Brazil. Believe it or not, Iran has a pretty diverse society. Look, this woman looks pretty white. And then you have a black dude right here. Obviously, there were Afro-Iranians for labor. And then you have some Asian-looking people. There's diversity everywhere. And there's conflict. Not to mention the fact that Iran has a good number of Afghan refugees. Absolutely. And if you like what I have to tell you, if you want to see me in person and you don't live in the area that I live in, I am certainly planning to attend the American Renaissance Conference this November. Please get out there, make a difference, speak out against double standards, defend the people who are mainly responsible for building a successful country. And if I get out there, show them that you guys have the right to preserve yourself, this whole thing is going to fall like dominoes. And I got to tell them about this video because these people, they don't want to defund the police. They're sick and tired of the crime rates. They're sick and tired of these animals robbing, killing, torturing, but yet they use the police against us. And when they see when this Persian guy is fighting for white people's interests and how the police behave, these people are certainly going to be alarmed. They're going to see exactly what's going on. Look who's going to be there. Peter Brimelu Vider. I'm thinking about interviewing very soon. Sam Dixon. I've interviewed him before on this YouTube channel. You can see here Vincent James. I've seen him about 4 years ago during the Laguna Beach protest. And of course, the one and only Jared Taylor. It's going to be November 12th to 14, Montgomery Bell Inn Conference Center. It's probably going to cost me like $400 for all the other costs, flight tickets, everything. You know what? It's worth it. All right. I'm glad to make a difference. Now, the issue isn't the cost. The issue is the masks and, of course, the pilots that got jabbed and everything. You know what I'm talking about. Who knows? This could be the last time for us to actually come together. And again, there's a lot of things I don't like about white people. There was a lot of things that I certainly wasn't a fan of during the conference. But these people need to be protected. These people need to be preserved. These people are vital. All right? Spread this video. And I know pretty soon YouTube is likely going to take this channel. The fact is, though, that when more and more of us wake up, the harder it is for us to push back. And just stay positive. Don't get angry. You get angry, you give them what they want. The next school board meeting in the Clark County Unified, I'm just going to put up a sign and say, this is replacement. It's all you have to do. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be confrontational. You just need to get your message across. That's a lot more powerful Thank you guys so much.